Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. I'd like to call this February the 20th special city council meeting to order, and I call on Ward 4 for the prayer.
Please bow your heads. Dear Lord, as we come to you tonight humbly and reverently, we just ask that you provide us the wisdom and guidance to make the best decisions for the people of our city. We thank for all the hard work that the men and women have done this past few days with the floods and the snow and ice and cold. We just ask you to bless all of them as they move forward. Just guide us and direct us. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Stand for the pledge, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call on the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilmember Smith,
Present.
Councilmember Stallings,
Present.
Councilmember Marsh,
Here.
Councilmember Crabtree,
Here.
Councilmember Craig,
Here.
Councilmember Martin,
Here.
Councilmember Sumner, Councilmember Meek,
Here.
Councilmember Bogard, Councilmember Velez,
Here.
Councilmember Bell,
Here.
Councilmember Drought.
Here.
And we have a quorum.
Alrighty, awards and recognitions. We don't have any on. Snow, thank you all so very much for all you do. We do have an A-team here in Hopkinsville. These men and women were out taking care of things, you know, from rescuing people out of cars off of Fort Campbell Boulevard and Harry Berry to dealing with wrecks and everything going on. Thank you so very much for everything y'all done for us this last week and getting us through the rain and the snow. Thank you on that. Want to remind council retreat will be March the 1st. So please put that in your calendar. March the 1st, there will be a council retreat on that. Brittany will be sending you all an email on where it's going to be and so on that. And that being said, we will move into reports from officers and committee and guest speakers. And Ms. Clayton, please come down and give us a monthly financial.
Good evening. It is my pleasure to bring you guys the January financial statement. We will start with our interfund transfers. We had 2 interfund transfers during the month of January. One for $4,000 to the Salvation Army for the warming shelter, and then $7,000 to the Information Technology Department to work on the audio video in this room. Total interfund transfers for January was $11,000, bringing our total for the year at $43,069, leaving us a remaining balance in interfund of $56,931. Payroll tax for the month of January, year to date, 7 months, was at $13,044,249, making that an increase in equivalent payroll of 9.88%. Our property tax year to date is at $5,444,393, which is under where we were last year through 7 months. Our insurance premium tax, January collections through 7 months is at $5,286,072, giving us an increase in our insurance premium, increase in equivalent premiums for the year at 22.2%. And then our business licenses is running right about the same pace as it did last year. We're at $1,044,400 through 7 months. Which brings us to our general fund balance. Our encumbrances for the year were $348,328. We've collected revenue year to date at $34,978,993. We have spent year to date $33,719,420, giving us positive revenue over expenses of $1,607,901. When we compare our fund balance to this time last year, you can see that we are running behind on our revenue over expense amount by right at $2 million for the year. Our municipal road aid fund, we have prior year encumbrances of $37,002. We've collected year to date $446,964. We have spent $713,212. We have more expenses than we have revenue at $229,246. And in our capital fund, we started the year with $348,328 of encumbrances. We've collected year to date $1,456,976, and we have actual expenses at $1,329,291, leaving us positive revenue over expenses in the capital fund at $476,013. We do have encumbrances right now of $126,612. That still leaves us positive $349,401 in the capital fund. So now it's time to look at our departmental expenses. By percentage, through 7 months, we should be running right at 58.3%. We'll say that January was a third pay month, so every time we have a third pay month, that kind of puts every department over budget because payroll is our biggest expense. So everybody is running a little bit over budget through 7 months, but admin's at 56.4, the tax department's at 51.4, information technologies at 63.8, legislative's at 60.6. In our public safety area, the police department is at 60.8, ECC is at 62.4, the fire department's at 60.8, EMS is at 68.6, and fire prevention is right at 62%. In our public works area, public works admin is at 56.1, city maintenance is at 55.9, Fort Campbell contracts is at 33.2, service centers at 59.1, Parks and Rec was at 57.7, the Sportsplex is at 50.1, and then the Aquatic Center is at 62.8. That gives us our total general fund is running right at 61% through the end of January. Municipal road aid is at 74.1% on expenses, and the capital fund is at 35.9%. Then we'll talk about our cash fund balance. Cash balance at June 30 was $17,617,425. We have year-to-date receipts of $34,978,993. Less our year-to-date expenses of $33,719,420 gives us our cash balance at January 31st of $18,876,998. Once we subtract out our current encumbrances, we have available cash January 31st at $18,759,402. So we take our available cash, we subtract out our 2 reserve accounts, and we get our unassigned cash balance at $17,493,592, and that is at 40.1% of our adjusted operating budget. And we'll compare that number to last year. So we have unassigned cash at 40.1, and last year we were at 39.1. In our brand new slide, I feel like our investment did really well in the month of January. We're going to show you both the cost and the market value each month. So if we go straight with the cost cash balance, we got interest in the month of January at $1,947. So our cash balance January 31st was $1,203,941. If we had sold everything on January 31st, we would have made an additional $20,582. So market value on January 31st was $1,224,523. So I feel like it was a good month. The investment did well. So I'm pleased with 1 month. I'm happy to answer any questions you guys might have about January's financials.
Just real quick, Melissa. So what percentage of cash are we at? What percentage?
Our unassigned cash is at 40%.
And what is the standard for that?
We have a municipal order in place that we can't go lower, I think, than 25%. 25%.
But we
We-
don't have anything saying how much.
We don't have anything that says what our maximum cap should be.
But a national standard or standard is kind of 25%.
It is, we like to keep at least 3 months operating reserve in our unassigned cash balance. So I could get you that amount. I think 3 months is running right about 13 point some million, to keep 3 months in reserve. So we're not too far over that. We do have a little bit more right now than, but we won't by the end of the year. So
We won't have that much reserve at the end of the year.
I don't think we'll be at 40% by the end of the
Do
year.
you know what we were at last year?
I don't remember, but I could look that up for
High
you.
30s, I believe, sound right?
How much?
In the 30-something percent.
30 at the end of the year?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any more questions for Ms. Clayton? All right. Thank you, Ms. Clayton.
Thank you.
All righty. Moving to item 9, approval of minutes for February the 4th, 2025 regular meeting.
Motion. Second.
Ms. Craig and Mr. Marsh. All righty. Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that's moving right along. Item 10, ordinance 04-2025 AT&T franchise renewal agreement, second reading.
An ordinance governing a franchise to Bell South Telecommunications LLC doing business as AT&T Kentucky for the provision of IP-enabled video service in the city of Hopkinsville, Kentucky, and authorizing the mayor to sign a 10-year franchise renewal agreement with AT&T Kentucky. Whereas AT&T Kentucky currently is providing within the city of Hopkinsville an integrated internet protocol, IP-enabled broadband platform of voice, data, and video services, IP network, the video component of which is a switch two-way point-to-point interactive service, IP-enabled video service. Whereas AT&T Kentucky has modified and is continuing to modify its existing network in order to provide its IP-enabled video service within the city of Hopkinsville. Whereas AT&T has statewide franchise under 1886 Kentucky Acts Chapter 511 franchise grant to construct, operate, and maintain its facilities in public right-of-way throughout cable television systems. And whereas it is in the best interest of the citizens of the city to remove any uncertainty service in the city and AT&T Kentucky agreed to enter into the following franchise under Kentucky law to the event AT&T Kentucky may be required to have an additional franchise to provide its IP-enabled video service within the city, which AT&T Kentucky denies. Whereas in 2013, the city of Hopkinsville and AT&T Kentucky to enter into a 10-year non-exclusive franchise pursuant to ordinance number 1/2013, AT&T 2013 franchise. Whereas AT&T franchise expired on February 18th, 2023. Whereas AT&T desires to renew the AT&T 2013 franchise. Whereas Hopkinsville City Council has determined that the AT&T Kentucky has substantially complied with the material terms of the AT&T 2013 franchise, including signal quality, response to consumer complaints, and billing practices, has been and will continue to be reasonable in light of community needs, and that AT&T Kentucky has the financial, legal, and technical ability to provide the service, facilities, and equipment to provide its IP in Hopkinsville. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Hopkinsville, Kentucky. Section 1A, the City of Hopkinsville grants into AT&T Kentucky a 10-year renewal of AT&T 2013 franchise subject to the provisions of the ordinance number 1/2013. A copy of the franchise renewal agreement is attached hereto as Exhibit A and incorporated herein. B, the franchise renewal agreement shall expire on February 18th, 2033. C, pursuant to the franchise renewal agreement, AT&T Kentucky does hereby bind itself, its successors, and assigns to faithfully and fully perform each and every condition of said franchise as memorialized in the franchise renewal agreement, and further to faithfully perform all acts required of it pursuant to said franchise. D, the franchise renewal agreement memorializes the agreement between the parties contained and embodied in ordinance number 1/2013 and shall be binding upon and inure of the benefit of the respective successors and interests of the parties hereto. E, that the mayor is hereby authorized to sign the franchise renewal agreement, which memorializes the award by the city to AT&T Kentucky of said franchise, subject to the terms and conditions reflected in ordinance number 1, 2013 in this ordinance. Section 2, all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict with this ordinance are hereby repealed. Section 3, that if any section, sentence, clause, or phrase of this ordinance is held to be unconstitutional or otherwise invalid, such infirmity shall not affect the validity of the remainder of this ordinance. Section 4, the statements set forth in the preamble of this ordinance are hereby incorporated in the ordinance by reference, the same as if set forth at length herein. Section 5, this ordinance shall take effect after its passage and publication according to law.
Okay,
So moved.
Second.
we got, Amy Clayton. All righty. And any discussion on this? We have the attorney on, if we want any discussions. All right, seeing no discussion, I'll call the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Stallings,
Yes.
Councilmember Marsh,
Yes.
Councilmember Crabtree,
Yes.
Councilmember Craig,
Yes.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Sumner,
Yes.
Councilmember Meek,
Yes.
Councilmember Velez,
Yes.
Councilmember Bell, Councilmember Gerald,
Yes.
Councilmember Smith.
Yes.
That passes on second reading.
All right, thank you. Municipal Order 07-2025 Weyman Way Extension Street Application.
Whereas Community and Development Services made a favorable recommendation at their January 27th, 2025 meeting to accept Weyman's Way extension into the city's maintenance program. And whereas the Public Works Department has determined the streets meet the standards of the Hopkinsville Public Improvement Specifications. And whereas KRS 82.400 and 100.277 set forth the requirements for acceptance of streets by cities. Now therefore be it ordered, Hopkinsville City Council hereby acknowledges by operation of law acceptance of Weyman's Way extension as depicted on the plat attached hereto and incorporated herein by reference into the city of Hopkinsville effective March 13th, 2025.
Okay,
So moved.
Travis, second. Mr. Meeks, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Oh, yes. I had one back here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Late hand,
Go ahead,
Ray.
I didn't see you there.
So I'm going to be voting no on this. It's my opinion that we never should have been involved in paying for this road. So I'll be voting no, just to let everybody know.
Okay.
Shouldn't have done it.
Okay. All righty, we got that discussion. Any other discussion? Sorry about that, Chuck. I didn't see you there. Sorry. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Good. Got that noted? Okay.
You got a red pen out.
Municipal Order 08-2025 Kentucky Waste Tire Crumb Rubble Grant. Let me give you a little information on this right quick. This grant that we're going to ask for from the Crumb Rubble part will be going into Rotary Park around the playground on the exclusive playground. So that's the reason we're trying to get this done, so Melissa can get our name in for the grant paper like we're supposed to before the deadline. If not, we where we need to be. Okay? All right.
Whereas the city of Hopkinsville has been notified of the availability of grant funds through the Crumb Rubber Tire Derived Products Grant, a program of the Kentucky Energy and Environment Cabinet. And whereas these funds are intended for use towards the poured in place playground that will be installed at Rotary Park at Pardue Lane. And whereas the maximum grant award amount is in $100,000. And whereas the grant requirements stipulate a 25% match of funds. Now therefore be it ordered, Hopkinsville City Council authorizes 25% matching funds up to $25,000 and further authorizes the mayor to sign the Crumb Rubber Tire Derived Products Grant documents, memorandum of agreement, and all related documents.
So moved.
Second.
Amy, Travis, any discussion?
I think it's good for us to let everyone know and to remind them, like many of these grant proposals that we make, is that $25,000 will really only be spent if we're successful in the grant process.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
So.
Okay. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Item 12, other. Any other business that needs to be discussed tonight with council?
Council member comment.
Oh, all right, well, Look at mine, you see what. All right, council member comments on item 11. We'll just whip around there. Left off on my paper. Yes, Mr. Crabtree.
So like I was saying earlier, Mayor, I think it's good for us as a council to get an update on two things. The first one, I'd like to have our economic development partners come into council and discuss Ascend Elements and to discuss kitchen foods. And I think we would like, at least I would like to see facts and figures and question and answers, not marketing. We just want to
You want
ask
to know
some
the true
questions.
facts.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And I'd like that to be done at the earliest convenience. I know I can't make a motion, but I would like to have that done. I think it'd be what council and the city needs.
I will push for that to be on the second meeting of March.
Thank you,
Because
sir.
me and Councilman Martin will not be here on the first meeting of March. And Councilman Martin won't be here for committee of the whole for a family obligation he has. So on that, so I will put it for
Thank you.
on that meeting for March. We'll get that on the meeting point. Anybody else got a councilman comment?
I think we all just echo your comments earlier, thankful for all our public works folks and
Yes.
everybody that worked so hard during this, overtime, and I'm sure they were very, very tired at the end of that. Very appreciated.
They put in a lot of hours.
Looks tired. Look at him. Bless him.
Come on, Josh.
Hey, clap it up for 'em.
Appreciate it.
You know, I will tell anyone, we have an A-team, and I keep hollering that from the rooftops. We have an A-team in Hopkinsville, and they do a great job for us. We cannot beat them. Thank y'all so very much. Any other councilman comments? All right, I will go to item 12 in, Mr. Crabtree.
The rule of 100. If you spend 100 hours a year in any discipline, which is 18 minutes a day, you will be better than 95% of the world in that discipline. Consistency is everything. With that, a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Got a motion adjourned in a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And we are adjourned.